Hi, a very good evening to all of you.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hi, Tankar, good evening. Okay, so today we're going to start with a new topic, and that is kidnapping. The earlier part, hi Tesh, good evening, Bacha. The part that we were doing, section 354 CND, it will be completed with section 376. And today we are going to move on to a very important topic, that is kidnapping. Now, I want all of you to open your barracks. We go to section 359. Quickly, let's open our barracks and we go to section 359. Now, kidnapping. This is one word you have heard one time all in your life. You must have heard this word. When I say you must have heard this word, I'm trying to tell you that in Bollywood movies also we have seen that somebody has kidnapped so and so, ex got kidnapped, or there's a girl who got kidnapped. So kidnapping is a very this is a very you can say a very important kind of a provision which is given in IPC, because if we refer to the the report that has been given by NCRB, as per 2021 Bajaj, there were more than 1,01,707 cases which were pertaining to the offense of kidnapping. So you can imagine the number. So the year was 2021, and we had 1 lakh plus, you know, cases which were merely dealing with the kidnapping. And out of these cases, more than 80% of the people who were kidnapped were girls. So we can understand from this number itself the gravity of this particular offense. So, kidnapping is a very important and a very crucial topic. This is, it's very relevant for your prelims, mains, interview at all stages. Now, if we go to section 359, if I ask you to read section 359, it says kidnapping is of two kinds: kidnapping from India and kidnapping from lawful guardianship. So, what are we seeing here? That section 359, it is per se not defining kidnapping. It's not defining. It is merely telling you that there are two kinds of kidnapping, which also means that the offense of kidnapping is not defined here. It is just being categorized here that kidnapping is of two kinds. The first kind is when there is a kidnapping from India, and the another category is when there is a kidnapping from the lawful guardianship. But then, what is kidnapping? We have to understand what is kidnapping to understand what is kidnapping for the purpose of Section 359. Now, the basic reason why people are getting kidnapped, why do you think people get kidnapped? What can be the probable reason for getting kidnapped? It can be ransom, it can be forced marriage, it can also be murder when you kidnap somebody because you want to kill that person. It can be because you want to procure any kind of property from that person, and in order to get that work done, you are kidnapping that person. It can be begging also. We have seen that there is kidnapping for begging also. On the streets, you see this on your daily in your daily lives, you've seen this. And then there is one particular reason for kidnapping, which is when you export girls to the foreign country. So for that purpose also kidnapping is done. So basically we know the reasons, we know the categorization of kidnapping, but what is missing here is that what is kidnapping? Now, on this point, I want all of you to write down the definition of kidnapping. Okay, so please start writing, all of you. Kidnapping is a kidnapping is a grave criminal offense. Kidnapping is a grave criminal offense which entails kidnapping is a grave criminal offense which entails the intentional act, which entails the intentional act of forcefully, which entails the intentional act of forcefully transporting, forcefully transporting or confining any person or confining any person with the intention, with the intention, number one, to cause harm, number one, to cause harm, secondly, ransom, secondly, ransom, thirdly, forced marriage, thirdly, forced marriage, fourth, murder, fourth, murder, fifth, begging, fifth, begging, and the last point, exporting girls for exporting girls for sexual activities, exporting girls for sexual activities to the foreign country, exporting girls for sexual activities to foreign countries. Now, if we look at section 359, I'm again repeating, it is talking about two kinds of kidnapping. It is saying either there's going to be kidnapping from India or there is going to be kidnapping from lawful guardianship. Okay, so it is talking about the two kinds. But section 360 and section 361 of IPC, which they have discussed the provisions relating to what is kidnapping from India and what is kidnapping from lawful guardianship. Okay, now what, in a Bollywood movie, let's imagine a scenario where there is this boy, he's playing outside in his courtyard, and there are two men, they come, they have masked themselves, they come, they pick up this young boy and they take the boy away. This is one scenario. Another scenario is, so there is this young boy, he's playing in his courtyard, two boys or two men, they come, they offer him a chocolate and they tell him, like, do you want to have the chocolate? And he says yes, and he starts moving with these two men, and they get into a car and they leave. So these are two scenarios. In one scenario, the boy has not given any consent. The boy was forcefully taken away. And in the second scenario, the boy here, he consented. He wanted to have the chocolate. So because he wanted to have the chocolate, he started moving away with these two men. Now imagine a scenario. There is this young girl who's, let's say, just 15 years of age. Now she falls in love with somebody. She wants to get married to this person, and this person is 25 years of age. Now she wants to get married, and the boy tells her that no, we need to seek our parents' consent here. But the girl says, my parents are not going to agree because I am merely 15 years of age. And this girl, with her own consent, she leaves her parents and she goes with the boy. So the willingness was there. So we've seen three different acts where either the willingness is not there or the willingness is there, which brings us to section 360. Now, section 360 is a very important section. Please keep your highlighters ready. And section 360 says kidnapping from India. Okay, let me ask you this question. What is India? Anybody who would like to answer the question? What is India? What is India?
Country.
It's a country. Okay. Is Jammu and Kashmir a part of India?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, it's a
Okay.
territory.
Okay. So basically, this is a country which is having its territorial jurisdiction, correct? So, okay. Aditi, you want to say something? No. Okay. So, India is a country which is having its territorial jurisdiction. Can we say that India has no territorial jurisdiction? Can we say this?
No,
No,
ma'am.
No, we cannot say this because every country they have their boundaries have been defined, their territorial limits have been defined, and the same cases with India. So our territorial limits, our boundaries have been clearly defined. Now, Section 360 says kidnapping from India. The first part of Section 359, which talks about kidnapping from India, it gradually moves into Section 360 and we come to kidnapping from India. So, what is kidnapping from India? Section 360 says, highlight is ready, everybody. It says, whoever. The word is whoever. It is not talking about a man, it is not talking about a woman, it is saying whoever. Whoever can be anybody here. Whoever conveys. Okay. Underline the particular word. Conveys. Whoever conveys. Conveys what? Any person. All right. So whoever conveys, underline, any person, underline, beyond the limits of India. So if our border, it ends at a particular point, let's say point X, and you take, and you, let's say Shrishti, she takes AJ beyond this particular point, what is going to happen? It's going to be kidnapping from India. Now, whenever any person conveys any person here beyond the limits of India, underline, without the consent of that person, very important element, underline. So the consent is not there. The victim here has not consented. Without the consent of that person, or. It is not and, it is or. Either this or that. What is the other reason? Or some person legally authorized to consent on behalf of that person. So basically, the consent is either not given by the person who is being conveyed or a person who is legally authorized to give consent on behalf of that particular person. So both the person here, they are included. So section 360, the provision, bacha, it is so vast and it is so extensive that the legislature has covered everything here. So either your consent is not there, or somebody who's authorized to give consent on your behalf, their consent is also not there. What have they done? Now, is said to kidnap that person from India. All right. So basically, kidnapping from India is not talking just about minors. It is not talking about minors, which is a very, a very common confusion here, that kidnapping from India talks about minors. No. This particular section is not just talking about minors, it is talking about any person here. And any person can be a person of any age. It can be a male, it can be a female, it can be anybody. So, it is not necessary for section 360 to come into play that a minor should be involved here. Absolutely no. Section 360 is merely talking about certain ingredients. So let's just talk about what section 360 is, trying to tell you. All right. So under section 360, the first ingredient is whoever. Whoever can be any person. It is a gender neutral word. It can include anybody. It can include your relatives. It can even include a police officer. It can be anybody. Whoever can be anybody. The second ingredient is when you convey. This is an important word, conveying. You are transporting that particular person from one point to another point. So you're going to drop this person from point 1 to point 2. Whether you have reached the destination or not is not at all important. This is not important. For example, let's say the Tiksha, she plans that she wants to kidnap AJ. Okay. Now here, the Tiksha, she kidnaps AJ. She takes AJ from point 1 to point 2. Whereas she was supposed to take me to point 3. Is it necessary that, for the offense of kidnapping from India to come into picture, we should reach the destination? No. Absolutely no. The moment the Tiksha, she, picks me up and I'm being conveyed without my consent on anybody who's legally authorized to consent on my behalf. Here, what has happened? Kidnapping has been done. Kidnapping has been done here. Utri, I'll come to your point, Bacha. 1 second. Kidnapping is over. For example, let me give you one example here. Let's say here, Shrishti, she kidnaps AJ. Okay, so I have been kidnapped by AJ. Shrishti wants to convey me to, let's say, a particular point. Let's say she wants to convey me to Sri Lanka. Tell me the last point in India. Tell me that particular point. Anybody? The last place in India which shares the border with Sri Lanka. Anybody?
Kanyakumari.
Okay.
Dhanushkoti.
Okay. Okay, nice. Okay. So let's keep it X place. Okay. So now Shrishti, she has to, convey AJ to X point here. Okay. So that I can be conveyed to Sri Lanka. The reason can be anything. Now, the moment I sit in the car and I have been taken without my consent to any particular point, what has happened? Kidnapping from India has been done. It is not necessary that tomorrow Shrishti can claim here that, oh, we did not reach the point X here, so kidnapping from India has not taken place. No. The moment, so that is why, we normally say this particular point that it is not necessary here that you have to reach the destination. Absolutely not. Mere fact that you have conveyed that person from one point to other point without that person's consent is enough to constitute section 360 here. This conveyance which is happening here, this should be without the consent of the person here. Okay. So the consent should be missing. If the consent is there, then it's not going to be kidnapping. For example, let's say I tell Vikas, that I want to go to, let's say, Paris here, that you book my tickets to Paris. He says, okay, ma'am, I'll also come along. I say, okay, we book 2 tickets to Paris. We take a flight and we reach Paris. Is this kidnapping? If I ask you, is this kidnapping from India?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay. Why? Hitesh, why, bacha? Why is this not kidnapping from India? There is a conveyance. Very nice. Very good, Anika. The consent is there. Very good, Shaktija. The consent part is there. What have I done? I have given my consent. Okay. So if consent is there, section 360 is not going to come into picture. And in section 360, the word used is beyond the limits of India. If I have to ask you, what do you understand by beyond the limits of India here? There are two things. If anybody can answer, that would be really nice. Anybody who wants to try? What's going to be beyond the limits of India?
Beyond the territorial boundaries of India and jurisdiction of India.
Very good. So that is going to be, Abbas, very nice. So that's going to be beyond the territorial limits, correct? And there is one more thing. We started this point in extraterritorial jurisdiction also. There's one more point. Beyond the limits of India. 12 nautical miles. Are we aware of 12 nautical miles? Have we studied 12 nautical miles? Yes. When we were talking about extraterritorial jurisdiction. So beyond the limits of India, here it refers to nautical miles or beyond the territorial limits. Very good, Abbas. So when you speak of the ocean limit, it's going to be 12 nautical miles. So here we are speaking of 12 nautical miles or beyond the territorial limits of India. But what is happening here? Not necessary that you have reached the destination. Absolutely not. Even if you don't reach the destination, Section 360 is attracted here. And one more thing, it has to be without the consent. If consent is there, this particular offense is not committed. Now, let's come to, this particular part. There's one question that should technically come to your mind, that why is, Manisha, 1 second, Baba. Why is the word minor missing in this particular, section? When we speak of kidnapping, the first thing that comes into our mind is we picturize that somebody is kidnapping a minor. So why is minor missing here? Why isn't minor a part of Section 360? Give it a try. Yes, Manisha. Meanwhile, I'll answer her question. Yes.
Ma'am, the same question I was about to ask.
Okay. So you have the same question. Okay. So there is, yes, Abbas.
It's self-explanatory. Some person legally authorized to give consent on behalf of.
All right. Okay. All right. What if a person is a lunatic? What if a person is of unsound mind? Now, that person is not capable of giving consent. Whose consent is necessary? Whose consent is necessary? The consent of, yes, Abbas? Yes. Somebody who is legally authorized to consent on that person's behalf here. So here we have widened the scope of Section 360. We're still not talking about minors. We are not specifically talking about minors, and there's a reason. Minors, they come into picture under Section 361. The second part of kidnapping, which says kidnapping from lawful guardianship. Now, this is penetrating into Section 361, and we come to kidnapping from lawful guardianship. What is kidnapping from lawful guardianship? This section is basically dealing with the minors here. Okay. Earlier, what happened? This particular section, Section 361, it used to correspond. I'll write it on the whiteboard for all of you. Now, Section 361, bacha, this corresponds to Section 19 and Section 20 of the Sexual Offences Act of 1956, United Kingdom, UK. So this particular provision, Section 361, which is talking about kidnapping from lawful guardianship, it is an absolute provision which is given in Section 19 and 20 of the Sexual Offences Act of 1956. Now, the earliest law or the earliest precedent that we can find on kidnapping, as far as the common law is concerned here, It is given in the landmark case of Queen versus Prince. Please write it down. Queen versus Prince. Now, this is the earliest case that you can find here. Queen versus Prince. Queen versus Prince. I'll just give you the citation. One second, just write it down. Queen versus Prince here. Now, what happened in this particular case law was, the question arose that are we going to include, the kidnapping from lawful guardianship alone under section 361, or there is any other ramification which is included in section 361. So in this particular case, it was held that the offense, you can write it down, offense of section 361, the offense of section 361 is basically taking out of from the lawful guardianship, is basically taking out from the lawful guardianship. The offense is not against the victim alone. The offense is not against the victim alone, but from the lawful guardian, from whose custody person was taken, from whose custody the person was taken. Now, let's talk about section 361 for a minute. Let's see what this particular section has to offer to us. Now, keep your highlighters ready, everyone. It says, whoever, again, the word used is whoever. Whoever takes, underline. Very important point. This is the core element of section 361. Whoever takes or entices, underline, entices. Entices means when you allure somebody. Okay? So, whoever takes, underline, or entices, underline, any minor. Okay. Now, Manisha, your questions right here. Any minor. Now, this is specific. Now, we are talking about minors here. We are not talking about any person. We are merely talking about the word any minor. All right. Minor under the age of 16 years if he's a male, underline. Very important point here. So if you're a male, the age specified for you is 16 years or under 18 years of age if you are a female. So if you're a male, the age for you is 16. If you're a female, the age for you is 18. Or there's somebody else also, or any person of unsound mind. So section 361, it is talking about a minor for males 16, females 18, or a person of unsound mind. All right. Out of the keeping, underline the word keeping. Out of the keeping of the lawful guardian, underline. Out of the lawful guardian of such person or a person of unsound mind without the consent, underline, without the consent. Whose consent? The consent of the guardian, underline. The consent of the guardian here. We are not talking about the consent of the minor. We are talking about the consent of the guardian here is said to kidnap such person or minor. Minor here is used for males under 16 years of age. For females, it's going to be 18. The word person here, it refers to a person of unsound mind here from lawful guardianship. All right. There is an explanation attached to it also. And the explanation says the word lawful guardian in this section includes any person, underline the word any person, lawfully entrusted with the care and custody of such minor or other person. Have they used the word parents here? Have we used the word parents here? Anyone? Come on, tell me. Have we used the word parents?
No, ma'am.
No. So we've not used the word parents here and we are saying any person. So that means if there is a boy who's 14 years of age and is gone to school, who's going to be the lawful guardian at that particular point?
Ma'am, the school authority.
Very nice. The school authorities are going to be your lawful guardian here. It is not necessary for lawful guardianship that only parents have to be there. For lawful guardianship, even for temporary period, if somebody has your custody, they will be treated as the lawful guardian here. Somebody who is entrusted with the care and custody of such minor or any other person. Now, let's suppose there are two, the very young kids. They have been sent to a crèche. Okay, both the parents are working, the grandparents are not living with them, and the kids are sent to a crèche. Who's going to be the lawful guardian here? Yes, who's going to be the lawful guardian now? Come on, tell me, who's going to be the lawful guardian? The crèche authorities. Very good, Shaktika. So the crèche authorities here, they are going to be the lawful guardians in this particular case. Now, this explanation is very important because this explanation in a way is throwing light and it's opening window for including a lot of people when we speak of any person entrusted with the lawful guardianship. And we know there's an exception to it, and we'll come to this exception in a while. So let's just talk about what section 361 is actually talking about. So why did Lord Macaulay felt that we should have section 361 here in IPC? What was the need? What was the ethos behind this? There was a reason. The reason here is that a lawful guardian, he has a right of the child. He is somebody who is going to have control and legally have the right over a particular child till the time he does not become an adult. Correct? So till the time you don't attain the age of 18, the lawful guardianship is entrusted to somebody else because you cannot take care of yourself here. Law assumes this. Now, this is one reason when I say that, this is an offense which is committed not just against the victim, but also against the lawful guardian here, because you are taking that particular child, that particular minor from the lawful custody of this lawful guardian. Now, when you take away, when you entice a minor from the lawful guardianship of a lawful guardian, you have not just committed the offense of kidnapping against that particular victim, but also against the lawful guardian here. And this makes it one important offense. This is not a continuing offense. You can write it down. This is very important. Kidnapping is not a continuing offense. No. It is completed the moment the person is separated from the lawful guardian. It can be even for 10 seconds. There's no time period defined here. So please write it down. It is not a continuing offense. It is not a continuing offense. It is completed. It is completed the moment it is completed the moment the minor it is completed the moment the minor or a person of unsound mind or the person of unsound mind is separated from the lawful guardian, is separated from the lawful guardian here. Okay. Now, if we talk about this particular section, we need to discuss what is going to be the subject matter here. Yes, what is the subject matter? The subject matter or the actus reus here under the offense in section 361, the actus reus is taking away or enticing. You are taking away or you are enticing. Whom are you enticing? You are either enticing a minor. For a male, it's going to be 16 years. For a female, it's going to be 18 years. Or a person of unsound mind. So section 361 is dealing with this particular subject matter, that you are taking away or you are enticing a minor or a person of unsound mind. So the first thing, in order to prove kidnapping from lawful guardianship, is that there was taking or there was enticing. So the first important point here is that there has to be taking or there has to be enticing. So in order to prove kidnapping, the first and the foremost thing you guys need to prove here is that there was a taking or there was an enticing. If there is no taking, there is no enticing, it's not kidnapping. Okay? Now, taking. The word used is taking. Now, without making any effort, there cannot be any taking. So if you've not put in any effort, there's not going to be taking. For example, let's talk about that chocolate example. Now, in the chocolate example also, if I ask Shrishti, do you want this chocolate? And Shrishti says, okay. But then I tell Shrishti, in order to get this chocolate, you have to walk with me. What have I done here? What have I done here? I've made some efforts. And these efforts are made to take Shrishti with me. Efforts were made. If efforts are made by me, it also means that the consent of the minor is immaterial. We don't care whether the minor consented or the minor did not consent. The consent of the minor is immaterial here. It is irrelevant. We don't care. Always remember this. This is like the grundnorm for kidnapping. That the consent of the minor is not going to be taken into consideration. So if the minor is a girl below the age of 18 years or a boy below the age of 16 years, their consent is immaterial. And taking here means that you have put in some kind of an effort. I'm not saying this. Delhi High Court has said this. Now, let me give you the case law on this particular point. We have Deep Chand versus NCT Delhi. This is a case of 2001. Criminal Law Journal. This is Delhi, page 463. You can write down the name of the case, all of you. Let me know when you people have written it. Deep Chand versus NCT Delhi. Written? Okay. Now, in this particular case, thank you, Shaktija. So, in this particular case, you can write down what the Delhi High Court has held. To take, you have to do something. To take, you have to do something. At least make an effort. At least make an effort. If no active part is played by the accused, if no active part is played by the accused for taking away the minor, if no active part is played by the accused for taking away the minor, there is no kidnapping. There is no kidnapping. So, to take, you have to do something, at least make an effort. If no active part is played by the accused for taking the minor, there is no kidnapping here. Okay. Now, I would like to give you a prop here. Okay. Now, let's say AJ has persuaded, let's say, Hitesh to move to, let's say, Kolkata. Hitesh is 15 years of age. He has moved to Kolkata here. Is this kidnapping? Okay,
Yes,
Abbas?
ma'am.
Okay. This is kidnapping. Yes. Yes. Okay. So this is a yes. All right. Very good. This is a yes. So what has happened in this particular prop? There was a persuasion, right? This persuasion led to what? Effort. There was a persuasion. This persuasion led to effort, and the effort took to taking. So there's a persuasion. Persuasion moves to effort. Effort moves to taking here. Now, on this point, I would like to give you a very important case law. This is something very interesting also. And kidnapping is all about, the provision in the case laws. And we have a lot of cases and props to cover in kidnapping. You can write down the name of the case, and this is a landmark judgment. We talk about the first case here. This is state of Haryana versus Raja Ram. Bacha, this is a landmark judgment. You can put a star here. This is AIR 1973, Supreme Court pages 819. And we'll do this later. Just write down this particular case. Okay. Now, what happened in this case? Let me just explain you the facts. So the facts of the case are very interesting. So what happened? There was this young girl, and let's say the young girl was X. Okay. Now she was 14 years of age. Okay. So X was a young girl of 14 years of age, and she became friendly with a boy, and the boy's name was Jay Narayan. Okay. This Jay Narayan was 32 years of age. So she became friendly with Jay Narayan. Now, Jay Narayan was a frequent visitor to X's place. Okay. Now, when X's father, he got to know about Janarine coming to their place. He barred the entry of Janarine. So he told Janarine that you cannot come and meet my daughter. So what did Janarine do? He started sending messages to X through Rajaram. So Rajaram was like a mediator. So whenever Janarayan had to, send a message to X, he used to approach Rajaram. So Rajaram started sending messages to X, which messages were written by Janarayan. Okay. Now, what happened? One of the message was that you should come and leave the house of your father and you can come and live with me. Okay. And here the girl, she was constantly persuaded by Janarine that, leave your father, come and live with me, I'll give you a very comfortable life. And one fine night, X got persuaded here. Okay. And when she got persuaded, she made all the arrangements and she left the house of her father and she reached the place of Janarine. Now, Janarine here, he basically seduced X. He seduced X here. Now, if he seduced X, what offense has been made by Janarine here? Has he committed any offense? Just tell me, has Janarine committed any offense here when he has seduced the girl and there is an act of sexual intercourse that takes place? The boy is 32, girl is 14. What offense has been made out? Generally speaking. Very nice, Anita. Rape. Correct. So this guy, Janarine, he was charged with rape under section 376. Now the question was, Raja Ram was booked for kidnapping from lawful guardianship and the punishment is given under section 366. So he was booked under section 366. Now, so the question before the Honorable Supreme Court in this particular case was that can we say that Raja Ram here, he has taken the minor girl since the minor girl has willingly accompanied Raja Ram? So can we say that, okay, Manisha says yes. So this is a question. Manisha says yes. Okay. Anybody else who thinks that this is a yes? Her consent is immaterial. Okay. Kidnapping it is. Very nice, Shaktija. Okay. All right. Now let's talk about what the Supreme Court. Very good, Ritankar. Very good, Anika. Very nice. Now, what did the Supreme Court held in this particular case? This is a beautiful judgment. Okay. Now, you can write down. It was held that it is not necessary. It was held that it is not necessary that the taking or enticing, that the taking or the enticing should be used by fraud or force. It is not necessary that the taking should be used by fraud or force. Full stop. Persuasion by the accused, which creates willingness on the part of the minor, persuasion by the accused, which creates willingness on the part of the minor to be taken out of the keeping of the lawful guardian, would be sufficient to attract section 361. To attract section 361. Full stop. Write down this important line here. This is very important. Persuading or soliciting. Persuading or soliciting a minor to abandon the legal guardian. Persuading or soliciting a minor to abandon the legal guardian at any stage. At any stage is sufficient to hold that person liable under section 361. Under section 361. Okay. Now, there is another case law, which is a very interesting case law. And this is a landmark case law. Okay. I will write down the name of the case first. I'll give you the prop, and I want all of you to solve the prop, and then we'll discuss. So this is, you can put 2 stars here because this is the landmark judgment. So it is S. Vardha Rajan versus State of Madras. And this is a case of 1965. This is Supreme Court case 942. Yes, please write down the name of the case first, and then we move on to the facts. Okay, so I'm just going to give you the facts, okay? So you people have to solve this particular prop. Let's say is at the verge of attaining majority. Okay? So she is at the verge of attaining majority. She voluntarily left her father's house. She arranged a meeting with her friend Mr. X at, let's say, Cafe Losico at, let's say, 9 p.m. Okay. And next morning, they went to the sub-registrar's office to get married. Okay. Now, both Anika and Mr. X, they have agreed to get married. Okay. There is no evidence at all, no evidence to show that Mr. X here, he has taken out from the lawful guardianship of her parents here. There is no evidence. Now, please solve the case. Will Mr. X be liable under section 361? Before this point, we have, okay, nice, Natiksha. So before this point, we have, we discussed a very important point also. You people are not applying that rule here. Quickly, tell me. Nice, Natiksha, nice, Manisha, very good. Now, let me tell you the answer. Okay, all right. Okay. Now, in this particular case, this is a landmark case where the Honorable Supreme Court has held that the accused is not guilty of kidnapping? Yes, very good. Very good, Anika. The accused here is not guilty of kidnapping because of one factor. And that factor is that, please write down, no active part. You guys missed this particular point. No active part was played by the accused. No active part was played by the accused to persuade the girl to persuade the girl to leave her house. There was no active part that was played by the accused to persuade the girl to leave her house. There is no enticing. There is no enticing or taking away of the girl. Or taking away of the girl. Hence, this is not kidnapping under section 361. Hence, this is no enticing under section 361. Now, what is the principle you have to invoke here? No effort. You can write down, no effort is equal to no taking. No effort was made by the man or the boy here. No taking will be taken into consideration here. It cannot be kidnapping. So no effort is equal to no taking. Please write it down. No taking is equal to no taking is equal to, sorry, no effort is equal to no taking. Okay. I think it's already 10 and we have to wind up, but I would like to discuss another case law with all of you. This is, okay, I'm just going to reiterate this, but this is something which is related to the consent of the minor, so we can keep it for the next class here. So this is a recent, I'll just briefly explain it to you. So this is a recent Kerala High Court, judgment here, and it's 2023 July's judgment here. Now, in this particular case also, Bacha, the Kerala High Court is a single judge decision here. They have held that when you speak of the minor's consent, it's going to be irrelevant here whenever we talk about the offense of kidnapping here. So whose consent is going to determine whether the act, it falls out of the purview of, the penal provision under section 361, it's going to be the lawful guardian. So if the lawful guardian has consented, only then the accused can be exonerated here. Otherwise, the consent, whether the minor has given the consent, that is going to be irrelevant here. But, we will be talking about this in the next lecture. So on this note, we're going to end the session. But before I leave, I want all of you to please fill the feedback form. I think Shrishti has already shared the link with you. Please fill your feedback forms. Okay? And all those students who have doubts, they can stay back. Other students, they can leave. Thank you so much. I hope you people have understood the topic. Everybody's
Yes,
leaving.
ma'am.
This is so exciting. They're so excited to leave.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Van.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you, Bas. Thank you. Okay. Anybody with a doubt? Yes, Pratiksha. हाँ जी बेटा, tell me.
मैम स्टार्टिंग का मैं मिस कर दी थी, तो मैम जो अपना 354 का बाकी के सेक्शन है वो अपन नहीं कर रहे.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it, but we're gonna do it with some other section. We'll do it with section 376.
Okay.
Okay?
ma'am. Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. No problem. Get well soon. हाँ जी, Anika. Yes, bacha.
Ma'am, I just wanted to ask, tomorrow we'll continue with kidnapping.
Tomorrow we don't have a class. Yes, most likely.
Next
Yeah,
class.
Monday. Yeah. Most likely we're going to continue with kidnapping, but I'll speak to Vikas once about this.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. Utri, yes, we're going to be discussing. Thank you so much, all of you. Thank you. So, Utri, bacha, we're going to discuss it in the next class. Okay? Why? Why the reason? I'll tell you why. Let's save it for the next class. Okay. Thank you, everybody. See you guys on Monday. Bye. Take care, everybody. Bye. Don't forget to fill the feedback form. Bye.